If you want your baby's skin to be sweet, to be lush, to be smooth, if you want that skin like milk for your child, right, this is one video you shouldn't miss. So hello, welcome to today's video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the different types of rashes in babies. If you're new here, you're welcome to the channel. I'm Dr. Erabo, and in this channel, we'll talk about health for mothers and health for children. So if something you're interested in, find the family and let's dive right into it. When it comes to rashes in babies, when it comes to rashes in children, it's important we know that first and foremost, children have sensitive skin. Their skin is not something you experiment with. That is why I tell parents that pay attention to the kind of product you introduce to your child. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about common practices that may predispose your child to having different types of rashes, because sometimes you may have a particular rash that is not going away. It's almost as if this rash is just stubborn. And oftentimes, when you see a rash on the child's body, the first thing that comes to mind is what cream should I buy? What antibiotics should I give? What drugs can you recommend? Sometimes it's not even about the drug. Sometimes it's about the things you can actually do to prevent it. That is why, and if you're not doing those things the right way, you can be giving the right drugs, yet that rash may never go away because first and foremost, there are different types of rash. And if what is responsible for that rash has not been handled, even when you give the best of medications, it may never go away. And you're having a stubborn rash that is not going away. So we're going to be talking about the common practices that may predispose a child or a baby to having different types of rashes. So I'm going to be starting from the very common ones. And number one on the list is, I know I've talked about this before from Instagram, Facebook, I know I've talked about this before, is the way we wrap our children. So for instance, you just give birth. This may not really concern you if you're in a temperate country, but if you're in our home country like Nigeria, where everywhere is hot, and you now give birth, only for you to now be told that do not expose the baby at all, do not open the window, do not open the doors, everywhere should be locked. The mother, everybody is sweating, everybody is, baby is sweating, the mom is sweating, the baby is on socks, the baby is on cap, the baby is on mittens, everywhere is just all wrapped and all locked up. Different layers of blanket, there's a singlet inside, there's a top, there's an overall, there's sometimes multiple layers of blanket because you don't want any form of air to touch the baby. So when it comes to babies respond to weather conditions. So when the weather is cold, raise them according to how cold the weather is. But when the weather is hot, please, you need to reduce the outfit. That's not the time to now wear the baby so many clothing. The baby will be uncomfortable. Sometimes you see a baby is just crying, cranky, only for you now to discover that the baby is just uncomfortable due to heat, sweat around the child. Baby is not even sleeping well. Mom is not sleeping well. So when the weather is hot, you need to tone down. You can put on your fan. You can put on your AC. The room can just be cool enough just for you and your baby. That mentality where, oh, because you just gave birth or because you have a child, everywhere should just be all hot and everyone in that room is all sweating and all uncomfortable. No, it is not helping your baby. And this is going to tell on their skin. Before you know it, you're battling with skin rash, you're battling with heat rash and all of that. Secondly, if you're someone who jumps from product to product, maybe you've been using a particular product for your baby and you just open your Instagram and they're advertising this beautiful product and everyone is telling you, oh, this product is good. I tell mothers, if you already have a product that is working for your child, please stick to that one because every child is going to be different. And if you now have one your child that is suitable for your baby, please stick to it because by the time you start jumping from product to product, like I mentioned initially, babies and their skin is very sensitive. You do not want to start experimenting with so many products. So whenever you find a product that works for your baby, please stick to it. If it is, even if it's a very cheap product, so long as it's giving you a good result, stick to it. If the product is now very expensive and you can afford it, please stick to it. Do not jump from product to product. That is the second practice that can make a baby develop all forms of rash. And you'll be wondering sometimes discoloration, and you're wondering where this can be coming from. You do not want to just jump from product to product. The third one is if people are over touching your baby, you just gave birth, everybody is coming around, everybody is carrying your baby, and the more the crowd, the less they'll wash their hands because everybody wants to carry the newborn. So as much as you can, we know everybody needs to know that you've given birth and all of that, but you need to reduce traffic. They can greet you, they can greet the dad, they can give everybody around. But when it comes to the newborn, you need to reduce the number of people that have contact with your newborn because the more they touch your newborn with unwashed hands, the more they are predisposing this child to different types of skin rashes. Number four, I mentioned this one in the last video. For instance, oftentimes moms are being told that the soft spot on the baby's head should never go dry, should always have plenty of oil. Sometimes you even pack concussions on that soft spot. As simple as pouring too much oil on your baby's front and on the soft spot on their head, you're doing that baby more harm because this excess oil is going to irritate their skin, and sometimes around the head, around their face, around their neck, anywhere that excess oil is getting contact with is at risk of developing a rash. So excess oil on the skin can irritate the skin, especially if you're always pouring so much oil on that soft spot on their head, or sometimes people go as far as pouring concussion. You mix a lot of things. No, you need to leave that soft spot alone. Even if you want to moisturize your baby's hair or moisturize their scalp, that is fine. But you see that excess oil you need to pour because you've been told that soft spot should never go dry. Something is going to happen to your child. Like I said in that video, nothing can happen to your baby. That spot is normal and it will close in due time. So pouring too much oil on that soft spot can irritate your baby's skin. Number five, when it comes to babies, as they grow, sometimes the baby is drooling saliva. Sometimes, and this drooling can be very common around the face where they are teething. And sometimes when they are drooling saliva, sometimes you see babies, their shirt, what they are wearing, what they are wearing is just soaked in saliva. The longer such shirts soaked in their saliva is making contact with their skin, the more they are at risk of developing a rash on that area this excess saliva is having contact with. So if you're as the baby is growing, if you're discovering that your baby is drooling saliva or that period of teething, you want to clean, you want to wipe them as often as possible, change their outfit as much as possible, because the more they stay, the more their skin gets in contact with that excess saliva on their clothes and their body and all of that, the more they are prone to having skin rash. And sometimes a rash may just be harmless. It's not doing the baby any harm, but as a mom, you easily get worried. And sometimes, even when the mom is not worried, so many people will come asking questions, or so many people are advising you, and you get confused. Sometimes a harmless rash, like acne in babies, this rash is so harmless, yet sometimes you'll be told, go and buy antibiotics, apply so and so cream. Before you know it, you worsen. And sometimes people even go as far as popping this acne, and before you know it, you're worsening this thing in these children. So harmless rash like acne will usually go away on their own. In newborns, this rash will always go away on their own, because as the hormones, the pregnancy hormones baby was exposed to in the womb wears off, this acne will usually go away. So you don't need to press it, you don't need to pop it, you don't need to massage it, just leave it alone and baby will do just fine. So there are some harmless rash, just like acne I just mentioned. Another one is using harsh product. For instance, you always use medicated soap for your baby. You always use antiseptic. These are things, aside the fact that they can dry out the skin, these are things that can kill the normal flora. Flora simply means these are protective organisms that help protect and fight off infections on the baby's skin. That is what a normal flora is. So the more you use medicated soap, the more you use antiseptic on your baby's skin. For instance, if you want to bathe your baby, you want to add Savlon, you want to add Dettol and all of that. On our page on Instagram, we discussed all of this already. All of these things can, aside the fact that they can dry out the baby's skin, they can predispose your baby to having skin rash, because they are killing the good organisms on your baby's skin, which is supposed to help them fight off infection. Just the way when you abuse antibiotics, right? So when the real infection now comes, it's almost as if you've killed the good bacteria that should fight off this infection. So that's what really happens when you abuse antibiotics. You are prone to having more resistant infections. That's what really happens when you use medicated soap, when you use antiseptic when it is not needed. If there's never going to be a need for you to use antiseptic, oftentimes there's going to be a skin infection which you will be told. And this takes me to my next point. So do not just go on every day. Anytime you want to bathe your baby, you must add antiseptic to the water. The more you do that, the more you're going to be predisposing your baby to having different types of skin rashes. Another point is applying powder on around your baby's bum bum can predispose your baby to having diaper rash, because I'm going to create another video that talks about what you should do when it comes to diaper. But if you're someone who always adds, because oftentimes when we're told, oh, add powder in their bum bum to prevent heat rash, no, you're actually causing the heat rash and the diaper rash, because powder will often trap heat, and once you trap heat, microorganisms can act on that area, and before you know it, baby is coming down with diaper rash. The best thing you should be using for it is petroleum jelly, that's Vaseline, or you can use a diaper rash cream. These are the things you should be using. So another point is allergies. Sometimes the baby is just reacting to your product. So anytime you introduce any product to your baby, whether you were given in the hospital, you were told to give maybe a medication, you were told to give, maybe you change your baby's skin products, or maybe you change their soap, their oil, their lotion, whatever you're changing for your baby. Sometimes even their clothes, always check out for allergies. Sometimes you may just be seeing redness on their skin, may even develop as rash on their skin, and sometimes it's just itching them. Those are things you should check out for. So it's not enough to say, oh, I love this product. If your baby is reacting to it, those products are products you should discontinue. It's about what is safe for your baby. Sometimes I get asked, what is that product I can use that can clear my baby's rash? See, there are different types of rash. There are different types. All of the ones I've been mentioning, we talked about diaper rash in the process, we talked about heat rash, we mentioned acne on one side. There are different types of rash. And there are some rash that result from infections. And when it comes to infection, that was the only type of rash I'm talking about. People having contact with your baby with hands that are not washed. This can infect your baby's skin. When you have infections in the skin, this can actually present as rash in the baby. And when it comes to rash that develop following infection, there are different types of infections because bacteria can cause infections, viruses can cause infections, fungi can cause infections. So it's not enough to say, oh, which medication should I give? If we do not know the type of rash the baby has, you cannot just give a medication. It is what is causing the rash you should be giving medication for. And sometimes a medication may not even be needed, as simple as just adjusting certain practices your baby will do just fine. So before you get to the point of medications, if these practices are not checked, you might just be treating and this rash is not going away. So to hygiene, people touching your baby, is the rash harmless, like the acne type of rash I mentioned initially? Are you jumping from product to product? All of these things, like I mentioned in this video, and these are the things you need to check when it comes to the different forms of rash in babies. It's actually bigger than this, but this is a simpler way to just summarize it, especially when it comes to the common practices that can predispose a baby to the different form of rash that you may see in a child. So this is what we have for you in today's video. See you in our next video. Until then, bye.